I was simultaneously lecturing 2 blocks from here, exactly, on the southwest corner of 125th Street, right in front of the Chock full of nuts. I would come down from Teachers College, where I was teaching 2 courses, to 125th Street to the University of Hard Knocks. And there I took all kind of abuse because my language was not proper. I did not know to speak to my brothers and my sisters. I too spoke with long syllabic words. I was the epitome of a British house slave. All my words were so properly spoken, and sometimes I had to trouble over my accent and the words to get to my people who had not heard a word I was saying, until I started to learn the word motherfucker. When I learned to say that and to speak it with all the strength and vigor, as against a gentleman who mates with his partner, I had no one to understand me. And then I learned something in the Christian church. I spoke the language of the people. Some of you can't stand it, of course, as the people, but for the first time I was able to communicate with all of my people, those in the big house and those on the plantation. Previous to that, I was communicating solely with the big house. And the big house could not hear me because what I had to say was not for the big house. What I had to say was for the audience here and the rest of the audience like you. I wanted to bring what I saw in Egypt to the average African man, woman, and child, because I know that what I had was a liberating device. I had seen my people sitting and praying for a wife or a husband, sitting and praying for a fur coat or a Mercedes-Benz, sitting and praying for all kind of frivolous nonsense, carrying it to the door of the Lord and leaving it there on the doorstep, coming back 2 weeks later and there it still was on the doorstep. And I realized that the answer, though theosophy and religion has its value, it is not the way with it all. For I realized that the minister would be never, if going to the Lord in prayer was really the thing, hardly a minister would have been in the pulpit. I knew all that. I knew that what my people believed in was what Carter G. Woodson admonished us not to go in, because it resulted in what he said at that time, the miseducation of the Negro. Marcus Messiah Garvey, whose son is here with us, one of the 2, was a man who I looked at with a reverence not less than my own biological father. And I remember in his teachings way down there when I grew up in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, he asked the question, what is an education? For what purpose? He said, it's not necessarily what you take in. For more than often, you will have to let that same thing out. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And it had an impact on me. And what was the impact then? was to have a knowledge, to know something, to see your people struggling for that knowledge, which is theirs, to see them being Pavlov eyes, like Pavlov dog, and not being able to recognize that we are going down the aisle.
Good afternoon. I'm Nat Wood. That was Dr. Ben at the Schomburg Center, like circa 93, I think. Today with me, because we're really going old school, and I wanted to show an actual master teacher who was a part and parcel not just to the intellectual or teaching community, more teaching community than quote-unquote intellectual community, but of his people in the same way that Dr. Clark was. And it is my honor to have with me today the unequivocal voice of protests in New York City, the voice behind every protest we ever did and ever documented, with the old National Action Network, the originals with Ozzie Thompson and Charlie Matthews. I got Tim Ford with me today, so we're going to kick it live and old school and let y'all know how it's used to be done and supposed to be done. And my brother, it is a pleasure to get you in New York City. Oh, man, somebody real finally in NYC.
No justice, no peace, my brother, all the time. When I see my brother, I know I'm home.
My brother, you
know,
always home.
I know I'm home. You know, seeing Dr. Ben made me reflect. And I have to salute a few people. This year, actually January 8th, I turned 50 years old. And
took you so long.
Oh, man, listen, it's like the greatest feeling ever.
Yeah.
I've been in this movement for now over 30 years. And I had to reflect on those who took a young man, a young boy, and made him into a man. So I have to salute people like Sonny Carson, Viola Plummer, Omawale Clay, Reverend Sharpton. He was my mentor.
Right.
Ozzie Thompson. They took me under their wing. Ed Barnes.
Right, Barnes
man,
is incredible.
That's my brother right there. I love that man with everything. Charlie Matthews.
Yeah.
Those brothers and the Mallorys, Mr. and Miss Mallory.
Right.
Those people took me under their wing as a little dude and made me a man. They were there when no one else was there for me. So I have to salute them and thank them for teaching me what I know. And coming 50, like I said, I had to reflect. And I'm so proud of the things that I've done in the past, and good and bad. And the movement will always be in my blood, and I'll never get out of it. You said I came back home. Yeah, I actually moved to Georgia.
Yeah.
I've been down there for almost 2 years. And it's been good, but I miss New York. I miss the movement here in New York. I've been trying to organize a little bit down there. What I'm doing down there now, I'm just working with the homeless. I'm collecting blankets and things of that nature for them, and staying steadfast in the movement up here. I'm constantly reaching out to my organization, which is Africans Helping Africans, and making sure they're on point and they're doing certain things, and I come back and forth and get involved when I can. But it's been a good 50 years.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
A really good 50 years.
Yeah, I don't think Georgia really knows or appreciates what a legend they have in their midst. You talked about Ed Barnes and Ozzie and Charlie Matt, but let me say this, because as videographers, and there was a gang of us. David Eggs, certainly Veronica Kitt was like legendary
Yes.
at that time. I was out there everywhere. The National Action Network demonstrated, and it was truly a family. I was just honored to be out there. You know, there was no thought about me trying to make myself somebody, because everybody out there was so dedicated and so legendary. To just be among these people was like the cat's me out of me. But certainly, and being in that mix at that time, it was truly a family. It was truly a family. You felt like you were part of something special. And the National Action Network was everything. And anybody who was out there demonstrating, I don't care whether it's Diallo or Doris Mon or the stopping in New Jersey on the highway, I don't care where it was or what it was about. If there was a demonstration going on and there was a march, there was a brother at the front of the line leading the call, no justice, no peace.
No justice, no
and
peace.
So when I tell you, this brother is a legend. There wasn't no party till Tim Ford started the party off. When you see those old pictures of the Union Army and you see the drummer and stuff like that and the bugle boy leading the charge, this was the brother. This brother is a legend. It's good to have you back.
I appreciate being back. I appreciate being with you, like I said earlier. You know, and I'm still involved in the movement. Mm-hmm. Before I left, I was still in the street, mm-hmm. because the movement doesn't stop, the struggle doesn't stop.
Right.
As long as there's injustice to black people, there's going to be a fight. And I'm going to be at the head of that fight, because I refuse to back down and bend over and refuse to sell out.
Right.
You know, I learned from great ones. I learned from Khalid.
Right.
I've learned from Sharpton. I can go down the line of the greatness that I've met and had the opportunity to teach me on what a real movement is all about. Original Nan, not Nan today.
Right.
Original Nan cannot be touched.
Right.
Original Nan was phenomenal.
It was.
Like you said earlier, it was a family. We understood what we were there for. We weren't there backing down. We weren't selling out.
Right.
We wasn't double talk.
Right.
It was what it was.
Right.
We were the only organization in New York City, hell, damn near around the world, that had the opportunity to shut down I-95.
Right.
You know, we shut down I-95. Hell, we shut down the airport for Diallo.
Right.
All right? And it was like, you know, during the Diallo funeral at Nan, original Nan, 1941. We took Diallo's body from there in the hearse, and we shut down the streets all the way to the airport. The police just gave up. They couldn't control us, because we took over, you know, and we took those streets and those highways to the airport, got to the airport and shut that down. You know, that was one beautiful day of beautiful homegoing for that brother. You know, so those type of things I will always remember about Original Nan.
Now, talk to us about organization, because one of the things that was so impressive about the Original Nan was that everyone had a role to play, and everyone did their job magnificently.
Right.
It was pandemonium, but there was certainly order in the chaos. Everybody knew their role, knew what their job was, and everybody did their job masterfully. Talk about.
See, what the thing was with Nan, the original Nan, like you said, we all knew our position. We knew what we were supposed to do. We knew that it wasn't about us. It was about the people. It was about the issues. It was about our deliberation. It was about what Nan stood for. You know, we were about justice. You know, and that's what Nan was about. It was about black liberation. It wasn't about Rainbow Push.
Right.
It was about black liberation.
Right.
We understood that, you know, if one of us fall, we all fall. So that means we had to stand each other up. We had to hold each other up, and we never gave up on that. You know, you mentioned Ed Barnes. You know, brothers like Ed Barnes and Charlie Matthews, old soldiers.
Right.
But they had young hearts.
Right.
You know, they had young hearts. Ozzie Thompson,
Right.
young heart.
Right.
You know, and they kept us on point. Us young fellas on point.
Right.
Yo, listen, this is how you got to be done.
Right.
And you know what I loved about them, they weren't just leaders, they was also followers.
Correct.
And they allowed
Correct.
myself to lead.
Correct.
You know, when certain times when I had to be up in the front, they allowed that. They could have said, no, you too young for this, or no, they said lead, brother.
Right.
Lead.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
that's what I did.
Right.
You know, and I didn't, you know, and it made me more of a man. It made me stronger. It made me understand the movement today. You know, today's movement is not what it used to be.
I don't know what the goal is. I don't know what
and that's the problem.
I
you know,
have no
we
idea.
need to change our strategies. The problem is with today's movement is they haven't learned from the past. We have to learn from the past. In other words, when your enemy changes his strategy, you're supposed to change your strategy. And we haven't done that. And the problem is we need to begin to change our strategy to be better than those who are trying to fight against us.
One of the problems that I have with today's movement, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I don't want to lose my train of thought to one thing that you said that was very, very important. When you mentioned people like Ozzie Thompson and Ed Barnes and Charlie Matthews, you mentioned the fact that they were leaders.
Yes.
And not just leaders, they were elders.
Yes.
But they also knew their place and followed. So when they spoke to you, they commanded respect, and you knew your place and your position, and nobody challenged that because not only were they elders, but they were warriors in the foxholes at the time with you. So you had to respect the fact that they were elders, and you also had to respect the fact that they were soldiers, and you damn sure had to respect the fact that they were warriors, and their mission was not just to hoard up the glory, it was to bring you along.
Right, and they never try to demean you.
Never,
you know, they
that is
never try
correct.
to demean you. They always try to uplift you.
Right.
You know, and that's what I loved about them, and that's what I learned from them.
Right.
I have my own organization, Africans Helping Africans, and my purpose in Africans Helping Africans is to create leaders, not just followers. And I'll tell them all the time, listen, you're not my follower. You're a leader.
Right.
I'm going to teach you to lead by example. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I myself won't do myself. So if something goes down, I'll push them back and tell them to watch.
Right.
Because I'm going to take this. If I got to get arrested, y'all watch this.
Right.
You know, if we got to take the head of a march, y'all watch this.
Right.
Y'all stand back and watch and learn. Because I'm going to push you up to the front all the time. You know what I mean? Because I want you to become a leader. Being a follower is fine, but don't be a follower all your life.
Right.
You know, so this is what I learned from Sharpton. This is what I learned from Ed Barnes and Ozzie Thompson and Charles Matthews. I learned this from them.
And on.
In college, I learned all this.
And on
because
and on and on.
we got to mold each other to be better.
Right.
You know, and that's what the old movement was about.
Right.
Being
Right.
better.
Right.
You know, and fighting the right fight and have a purpose to that fight.
And having a purpose to that fight. In the opening, we had Dr. Ben, and Dr. Ben talked about speaking the language of the people, because what he wanted to do was, his message was for the people. A lot of the quote unquote woke community today is about self-aggrandizement and trying to be the next Jay-Z of the activist movement, as opposed to like putting skin in the game and doing something that advances their communities and the people that they're supposed to represent. So now we have a people in chaos, and we have no one who is really focused on trying to elevate the community, but rather everyone is trying to like blow up, as they say.
These dudes, all of them, a number of conscious pimps, okay? They're conscious pimps. And what they did is, you know, they are feeding off the people like pulpit pimps, you know? And it's like, you don't have no action agenda. You're not in the street. You just talk that stuff, and you want to act like you did something when you didn't do anything. You have, like you said, you ain't put no skin in the game. You ain't been in the streets. You ain't been marching. You ain't did nothing. You just nothing but a pimp. You know, stupid ass debates. Really?
Oh man!
Come on. Where's your action agenda to your debate? What happens tomorrow? What happens after the election? You take the people to the street? If you ain't taking them to the street, what's the point? You know, and you sit there and you debate over nonsense. You know, and act like you did something. Some of them should be ashamed of themselves because they walked with college. Some of them should be ashamed of themselves because they walked with college.
And they pretend they are college.
And they pretend. That's what it is. They pretend. All right? And they act like, oh, I walk with college so I could do this. No, college would smack you in your face because you're using the people.
You can't shine his shoe.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're using the people. You're making videos of stupid ass debates, and you're supposed to be somebody. You ain't nobody. You know?
And Brother Jack Felder passed.
Oh man. That was a legend.
And I was shooting something else on 125th Street. I couldn't be there, so I didn't shoot it. But if you were shooting the passing of a legend like Jack Felder to bring it to the people, I give you all respect in the world. But if you are there with your camera because you think you can monetize, make money off of the corpse of a legend, then you should be damned ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Dr. Felder is one of those who nurtured me and taught me also. Okay, and when I left NAN, Dr. Felder had left also. And I used to talk to Dr. Felder like every time I came up to Harlem. You know, we used to sit there and talk about history and everything else. The brother was a legend, okay? And I respect him. And what I love about him is the fact that he raised Nova. His son Nova is phenomenal, brother. You know, I remember when Nova was a little boy when he first came to NAN. And now he's a strong brother, strong black man now. And the knowledge that he has is phenomenal. But this is what we're supposed to do. But not use the people. You know what I mean? Use the people. This whole discussion about Umar.
I know, it's very disappointing.
That's just heartbreaking.
You know.
Because, you know, when we go there, okay, it's like, who the hell made you a prince? Who the hell made you a king? You know, first of all, you will be doing the work of the people. And you let your ego overtake everything else. You know, and it's like, if you got an action agenda, why are you debating over bullshit? You know,
and if it was just Umar, that would be problematic, but it would be contained and you could talk to Umar. But the fact of the matter is, there's a whole gaggle of them who are all over the internet spreading all sorts of dysfunction. They all calling each other every name in the book. They all talking about how they blew up. And when you look at them, I mean, it's all of them. It's Polite, it's Israel, it's Tariq, it's like it's Sinetta, it's Poppy. It's all of them. And the way they talk to each other, and I'm going to say this point blank, brothers, you are doing a disservice to yourselves,
Yes.
and you are doing a disservice to us. It would be fine to listen to this stuff if I was still 20 years old, 25 years old, getting it blunted all night and drinking beer and having something to goof on. But as far as consciously doing something in the community, it's time to act like the 40 and 50-year-old men you are, as opposed to the children you believe yourself to be. I am flabbergasted that all it took was a couple of minutes on that radio TV show. To just make your head swell up like this, or some sort of documentary you say you made, to do this. But you really need to get yourself together. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was never on some Willie Lynch stuff. When he came down hard on his own community, it was about our actions, our beliefs, our ideologies. It was never some Willie Lynch crap, and it was never about blowing up. I have never heard anything about Dr. Ben or the legendary Dr. Clark talking about how they blew up and how everybody in Africa knows them. Certainly everybody knew Dr. Ben, everybody knew Dr. Clark, everybody knew Sheikh Anta Diop, everybody knew all of these people, but it was never about them. You heard in Dr. Ben's own voice. And that clip, like I said, they stole that from us. That clip is part of a clip that's all over the internet now that was actually produced by Alambe Brath, directed by Melvin Simmons of the First World Alliance. The audio was Melvin Simmons. When you look at the entire clip, you see the camera at the end of it panning, and you see Melvin sitting at the soundboard. It was videotaped by Yusef Aziz, and it was edited by me. I left all the original credits in. So the whole thing is a fraud. You are making money off of other people's intellectual property, taking credit for it, and your whole objective is to, quote unquote, be the Jay-Z of the movement. You need to get it together, brothers, 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 brothers. I'm saying this with love. What we are doing here is just making us look like fools.
They really need to, if they want to start doing a lecture series like they were doing, they really need to start doing a lecture series with a real action agenda that's going to help the mass community. And we really need to understand that this is what it's really about. We go back to old activism, like December 12th movement and National Action Network and Sonny Carson and people and brothers and sisters like that was actually fighting for the masses.
Correct.
You know, and we had the lecture series that educated the masses. We need to go back to old school and understand what we're really here for.
Correct.
You know, and if we don't do that, we lose.
Correct.
And this is the direction that we're going right now.
Correct.
That's why police brutality is at such a high rise, because we haven't changed anything.
Correct.
You know, and we constantly doing the same stuff over and over again, like a hamster wheel, and expecting a different result.
Right.
Change your strategy.
Right.
Change the way we do it. Change the way we educate. Change and go into the community and talk to our masters, our people. You said earlier, the problem with us also is that we talk over those that we're supposed to be trying to help. We are too intellectual to lower ourselves so they can understand. And like, prime example, you see a banner that says Black Lives Matter. The masses of our people understand that because it's simplistic. It relates to me. You know, so I can support that. Do I support the organization Black Lives Matter? No, that's not my organization. That's not who I support. But I understand the simplicity of a slogan that the people can relate to and want to fight behind. Okay, if you come with something different, then like, what the hell that mean? You know, it really means that we have to be more simplistic and stop being so intellectualized that we can't relate to those that we're supposed to be trying to help. You know, keep it simple. You know,
to cook a fish, you got to hook a fish.
Keep it simple. Just like we give out the what to do when you stop by police. If you look at the pamphlet is simple, right to the point. This is what you got to do. But if we complicate that pamphlet, the people are like, oh, forget about it. You know, but you got to keep it simple. And that's what I'm saying to us right now. We got to keep this simple. We got to understand that this movement is not about us.
And you are so right. They are talking over the people. Even like you mentioned, Black Lives Matter. The problem is not the message, because the message is simple and it's understandable. The problem is that you are not talking to the people. You are trying to convince white people that Black Lives Matter. You are not trying to elevate black people. You are not trying to make black people more conscious. You are not trying to make black people more in tune of who they are and what their responsibility is. You're not trying to elevate our children. You are not trying to elevate our community so that they can fight their own battles and their own wars against gentrification, as opposed to a handful of people from all over the place marching about an issue that all of Harlem, all of Washington, D.C., all of Atlanta should be all in with.
Right, and I agree with you, but the reason why it's like that is because we have to blame the activists.
Yes.
Because we're not doing like the evangelists do. We're not doing like the Israelites do.
Yes.
We're not doing like Malcolm used to do. We're not doing like Dr. Clark used to do. Take the street corner and just educate the people. We ain't gonna go over their head. Tell them straight up, look, these people are coming in, taking over these properties. Your rent gonna go sky high. Keep your property. Try to educate and work together. We got to start dealing with economic empowerment. You know, for the last couple of years, I've been pushing a no shopping weekend on Facebook. No shopping weekend. The most simplest boycott you could ever think of. What you got to do, just don't shop. Stay in your house. Once a month. Don't shop on the weekend. Now, understand this simplicity. If we don't shop on a weekend, which this country makes the most money on the weekends, because everybody's off work and everybody want to go shopping. So if we don't shop, the economy goes down. Wall Street start talking. The Wall Street going to talk to the politicians. Why are these black folk not shopping? You know, we need to make some real changes. Talk to these people and find out what we can do. That stops police brutality, because all white folk care about is money and violence. We can't beat them violently, but we can beat them economically. We spend damn near $5.6 or $5.1 trillion a year. So if we say we're not going to spend some money on a weekend, then that means we win. If it doesn't take all of us to do it, if we can get 30 to 40% of us to stop spending for one weekend.
They shut down H&M in South Africa.
That's my point. We shut down H&M. We shut it down.
In South Africa, they had to close them up.
And that's how we need to do it here in America. When they come with T-shirts like that, we need to shut their behinds down, because that's a disrespect, and they know it's disrespectful. You see the two pictures, one little white boy have a nice little shirt on, we got to be the monkey shirt. What is that about? Because let me tell you, since Trump got in office, white folks done lost their mind. You know what I'm saying? They think they can do and say whatever they want to say. But we got to set them straight, and we ain't got to lay a hand on them. Keep your money in your pocket. That's all you got to do. Keep your money in your pocket. And when you keep your money in your pocket, you win the fight, because that's all they understand.
And case in point, the NFL, Kaepernick. Now, what they don't tell you, what is the best kept secret in America, is the fact that 33% of NFL viewers say that they have voluntarily stopped watching the NFL this year. And of that 33%, 36 or 37% of that 33 say they have done it as a direct result of Kaepernick and the kneeling. Another 34 or so percent say they have done it because of what Trump said. But make no mistake about it, the NFL has lost fully a third of their viewership voluntarily because of this one guy taking a knee. So whether they want to admit it or not, one monkey can stop a damn show, and the cost of which can be significant. Case in point, the NBA. Trump says a whole lot of nasty crap about Haiti. Well, we have owners of NBA teams that are from other countries, that are from places like Russia and Haiti. So he is getting backlash from the league itself this time because what he did actually was more hurtful to NFL bottom line than helpful. So kick the son of a B out was not as helpful as he thought it was. It rallied his base, and all those inbred rednecks, they love this stuff. We going to show the niggers who's boss. But in point of fact, the NFL, corporate America, lost a buttload full of money because of that little stunt. And other corporate entities are taking note. Even if they don't tell you that they know what's going on, these are their numbers, not mine.
Right, and you know, what we got to stay focused about also, when it comes down to Kaepernick, you know, is it about Kaepernick getting a job back, or is it about police brutality and murder? See, that's where we lost our focus. We're more concerned about the fact that him getting a job, and instead of dealing with the real issue, the reason why he sat down, you know, or kneeled down. We're going to start focusing on that. We have to end this horrific issue of police murder.
Is correct.
And we've been dealing with this for so long, it became something common to us. We just accept it now. But the police hasn't stopped killing us. You know, and they still haven't want to sit down and make some real changes. You know, I don't want you to sit down with Sharpton. I don't want you to sit down with Jesse. I want you to sit down with me. We got some things to discuss. Because we're not going to kowtow to you. We're not going to buck dance for you. We're not going to say, well, okay, if you give the school some money, we'll back off. No. What we want is some real significant changes. I got a crew of people you can sit down with, you know, and you ain't got to sit down with Steve Harvey. You know, forget Steve Harvey. He don't represent us. You know, what we need to do is sit down with those of us who's been in this street. All right? With real grassroots. Not the Justice League, but the more real grassroots. Sit down with real grassroots who are not looking for favor from politicians. You know, and sit down with us and let's have a real discussion. And if out of that discussion real change don't come, we shut you down again. And this is what it's about. It's about shutting you down till we get some real things done, you know. And I looked and I'm like, okay, you know, y'all go sit with these politicians all day long. You can have them up at your headquarters all day long. But what changes have they really made? You know, the mayor, the president, and everybody else has been up to nan.
Hey, it was a buttload of them.
Yesterday. But the question is, what really changed? You know, how many times do we have to sit with them at these conferences and they did nothing? You know, oh well, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna see. See what? Where's the real change? We need community policing. All right. We need a residency law for the police. We need proper training. You know, this is what we need.
And the Al Sharpton that you are trying to emulate is not the Al Sharpton that you should have learned from. The Al Sharpton that you are trying to emulate is an Al Sharpton who the system came and adopted and monetized him, and now he is as answerable to that system as he is to the community. That's not a knock on him, but he is an employee of NBC. The Al Sharpton you should have emulated was the Al Sharpton in the original Nan, because if you had emulated that Al Sharpton, you would be in a position of leadership and power today.
Absolutely, and that's the Sharpton I learned from.
That is the Sharpton we all learned from.
I am who I am because of that Sharpton.
Right.
I am who I am because of college. You know, and I love Sharpton.
Right.
That's my mentor.
Right.
All right. I love him. I don't always have to agree with him.
Right.
But
Right.
I understand what his position is now.
Right.
You know, he always says we all need to stay in our lane, and I agree with him.
Right.
And I'm staying in my lane.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm going to look over and see what you're doing in your lane.
Correct.
And I tell people all the time, I don't care who you are.
Correct.
I have more of a right to criticize him than you do.
Right.
And if I see you criticize him and you're wrong, I'm going to correct you.
Right.
But let me tell you, old Sharpton would never tolerate the nonsense that this is going on now, because we would have shut you down and kept it moving, you know. And we got to understand, look, this is what it's about, all right? Once you accept the carrot, you be the horse and you accept that carrot, you are dedicated to that person who gave you the carrot. And it's okay, that's what you want to do, that's what you do. But don't expect me to accept it. You know, I'm going to respect you for who you are, for who you once were, you know, and I'm going to continue doing what I think is right for the people, because that's who I'm about. It's not about me. It's about them. You know, it's about those who can't do it for themselves. And this is what I've been taught. So it's embedded in my head that I cannot sell out. I cannot back down. I cannot buck dance. Because if I do, my ancestors will slap me awake. You know, and this is where I'm at right now. In this movement,
not only that, when you're brought up a certain way, you really don't know how to deviate from that way. So it's not that I would or would not sell out, but if you wanted me to sell out, you should have made me an offer when I was 16 and still like pliable. Now I'm that old dog that you can't. I wouldn't know how to sell anybody out. I just wouldn't know how. It's just completely against everything I've ever done and everything I've been taught. It's an aberration to me. It's an anomaly. It's something that I would not know how to do. Whereas a lot of these guys are going in specifically trying to figure out a way to monetize their involvement in the movement. They're trying to be
this new movement. This new movement.
It's weird.
For one example, I give you Black Lives Matter New York. These
I don't even know what that's about. I don't know what that is.
Such toms.
Yeah.
They're such toms. They're such coons. They just so buffoonery. All they want to do is be in front of the damn camera. They're not about the people. They're not about what it's really about. How the hell are you going to go sit with the Klan and act like it's okay and not say RBG? You're going to sit there and wave a red, black, and green flag, and you standing with the Klan talking about these are my friends?
At the most horrible Klan insurrection. I don't even call it a rally because it was designed to be an insurrection of people who were like protesting the statues. This was like an armed militia, complete with torches and a whole lot of violent rhetoric. They killed a woman. This is what you wanted. You want to talk to them. What is the point?
What is there to talk about?
What is the point?
My point is, what is there to talk about? We have nothing to talk about. We have nothing in common. You support this cracker, orange-looking dude. I don't. Then you want to sit there and come up with excuses?
And there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who need some guidance and some example. When they get on the internet and they threaten each other with violence and they call each other I live in a community full of white folks. Ain't none of them ever called me a nigger. As a matter of fact, they say good morning and UPS left your package for you. But how do I communicate with the young brothers and sisters in places like Baltimore who are meeting each other with extreme violence, killing each other in record numbers, if the people who say that they are the second coming of Khalid and Dr. Clark, if they are behaving in a manner that is equally, if not worse than the young people who are killing each other in record numbers. How do we communicate this with them?
Because of them, we can't.
We can't.
Because we can't. How are you going to, like you said, you want to change the youth,
Right.
but you are acting just as savage as your enemy.
Correct.
You know, and it's like, are you serious?
Correct.
You know, those of us who've been in this movement for so
Correct.
long, looking at you like, are you out your bloody
Correct.
mind?
Correct.
We're trying to change this community.
Correct.
Instead of that, you destroying it even more.
Right.
Your stupid debates,
Right.
your stupid arguments,
Right.
it doesn't uplift the black community at all. You know, and then you wonder why we have excuses. The excuse is you.
Right.
Not them, it's
Right,
you.
right.
They get on, and these kids are trying to learn. Instead of learning, you are destroying them, talking about this person ain't no good because
Right.
you know he's a nigga and
Right,
this a
right,
nigga and
right.
I'm a prince and
Right,
and I've been doing this, you know.
You
and-
ain't make me blow up.
Yeah.
I was gonna blow up anyway
Really?
on the kind of
Come
I
on,
got
man.
talent and I made a document. I'm like a documentary.
Bruh, how many people made documentaries? How many people film lectures?
In my world, you know what a documentary gets you? Between 58 and 59 minutes of airtime, one time. After that, you just a damn repeat, and it's on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. But between the people I'm around and the people I've worked with over the past quarter of a century, we have made thousands of documentaries and thousands of studio shows, and none of us have ever tried to monetize the movement or be larger than the movement. What is going on is not
It's
helpful.
outrageous. Transatlantic been filming lectures
Right,
for years.
right,
Okay, filming lectures for years,
Right.
from Dr. Ben,
Right.
Scobie,
Right.
On and on down the line.
Right.
And you got the nerve
Right.
to talk about how great you are
Right.
because you film stupid debates.
Right, right.
You know,
right.
Sharpton should be ashamed of himself.
Right.
All right? I gotta say it. Sharpton need to be
All
ashamed
of
of
them should
himself
be. All of them
because
should be.
he was with Khalid.
Right. Right.
He was with Khalid.
That is correct. That is correct.
Why would you be so
right
disrespectful
Right beside him.
to his legacy
Right,
to
right.
even be a part of this?
Right, right.
You know, but
right.
it becomes about money and
That is
greed.
correct. That is correct.
You
That
know,
is correct.
and
Sarnetta's credentials is greater than all of them
All
put
of them.
together because you're right.
He was
Sarnetta
with
was at Khaled's side.
Yes.
I
So
got,
he
I
should
got
be
the
ashamed
damn
of himself.
pictures. He was
Yes.
with Khaled at
With
his
Khaled.
side. His
You know,
credentials far outweigh all of them.
That's right.
All of
You know,
them. None of them
and
can
that's
touch
the
his
problem.
credentials.
How
That
do you
is
go
correct.
from there
That is
to
correct.
there?
That
And
is
I don't
correct.
understand it.
That is correct.
You know, is
That
it really
correct.
about that money?
That is correct.
You know,
That is
come
correct.
on. When you're supposed to be about
That
the
is
people.
correct. Umar's credentials, no disrespect to Umar, but his credentials is nothing compared to Sarnetta's.
Not at all.
None of them,
Not
because
at
like
all.
you said, Sarnetta was with Khaled. He was
Yes.
with him.
He was with them. So what Umar says is
Right.
irrelevant.
Right.
What this other fool
Right.
says, who wrote,
Right.
mind you,
Right.
Tariq or whatever his name
Right.
is,
Right.
wrote
Right.
books
Right.
about pimping women.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Wrote books about
Right.
macking women
Right.
and how to be a pimp and how to
Right.
be a mac
Right.
and how to do all this. But then you want to sit there and disrespect
Right.
Umar
Right.
because Umar has an action plan?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
See, most of the people who
Not
went
just
after-
disrespect them,
But I'm
call
saying,
them all sorts
that's my
of, call
point.
all
But
sorts
everybody,
of
see, I gotta say this.
degrading names that is not just personal to Umar, but personal to black people
Absolutely.
in general,
Absolutely.
and threaten them over the internet and YouTube. How do I talk to young people?
But again, but you see the problem is-
how do I get them to stop hating each other and hating who they are when people who profess to be leaders and movers and shakers and old ass grown people are behaving in this
But
manner?
you know what?
How do I do it?
I gotta say this.
I throw up my hands. I
Right,
quit.
you're right. I gotta say this, the majority of people who went after Umar, right? The only reason why they went after Umar is because Umar has an action plan. And those who went at him haven't done a damn thing, okay? They ain't doing nothing, ain't trying to do nothing, and just a whole lot of talk. Yeah, I agree that Umar should open up the school. My opinion is he should have started opening up a small school. I don't understand his plan where he wanted to open up a larger school. I would have started small personally and worked my way up. But that's him. But my whole point to that is the brother had a plan. Okay.
My problem is that they use GoFundMe like an excuse not to put your back into the damn thing. Right. When we opened up, we had Dr. Ben saying point blank, and if you go farther into it, he'll tell you. They used to say I ain't no intellectual. They used to say Dr. Clark wasn't no intellectual. They used to say Auntie Diop wasn't no intellectual, and on and on and on. But that is irrelevant because, as Dr. Ben said in his own words, he would leave teaching elite colleges, elite white colleges, and come to 125th Street at the University of Hard Knocks, his words, not mine, and teach the people, and that his message was not for the big house, it was for the people, and he had to learn how to speak to the people.
That's right.
All of those guys could have blown up.
Everybody. But you understand something. We got to go to Camille Yarborough.
That is correct.
We got to go to Dr. Jeffrey.
That is correct.
What did they do? Created communiversity.
That is correct.
All right? They didn't have a whole bunch of money. They created a communiversity.
Right.
And they did it because they understood that the community needed to be educated.
Right.
If they had the money that Umar had, yeah, they could open up a damn school, but they didn't. They used whatever they had, wherever they could be, and they did it. All right, and what the problem is that they didn't get the support that they needed.
Right.
But that's the problem.
Right.
And I salute Camille Yarborough.
We never waited for support. I was Camille Yarborough's director here in this studio for years. I was Florence Rice's director right here in this studio for years. I never tried to make it seem like I was some big shot ahead of Camille. I knew my place and I played my role.
And they don't know how to do that.
They don't know how to do that.
Respect each other's so-called knowledge. All right? You got Negroes like Polite driving Rolls Royces and flying white women.
This is crazy.
What is that? What is that about? You're supposed to be educating the community, but then you read your damn books. Your books is repetitious. So it's like you are such a pimp to this movement. You should be ashamed of yourself. Pimping the people when you're supposed to be trying to help the people. What have you ever done for the people? Not a damn thing. Just like the rest of them, nothing. But sit there and have lectures and charge $30 to come and hear them say nothing. When Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark had lectures and didn't charge people, and we gave them a donation. Majority of the time, they gave a donation back to the organization because they understood what it really was about. It wasn't about money for them. It wasn't money with Malcolm. It wasn't money for King. You can go down the line. It wasn't about money for them. Hell, Sonny Carson. It wasn't about money for Sonny Carson. Sonny was in the streets for the people. And Sonny scared most of the politicians to do for the people.
All they got was grief.
All the time.
All they got was grief.
All the time.
Khaled was a nightmare. Any show. I mean, he had one girl, one young woman, a white girl in New York, one in tears.
All the time.
And he never said a word that was antithetical to what she was about or doing. All he did was, every time she asked a question, he answered it in a very honest way, but contrary to what she was looking at, and she didn't expect it. And it broke her down the same way he broke down Phil Donahue.
Yes. And you know what I respect about Phil Donahue? He allowed Khaled to speak. He allowed Khaled
That's the name of the game.
He allowed Khaled to give his information. And after Donahue quit television, he became an activist himself. Because he understood what Khaled was saying. He understood what it was really about. And we got to understand, as activists,
Right.
old and new.
Right.
Look, first of all, the new activists need to learn from the old activists.
Right.
All right? Sit down with some of us
Right.
and understand some of us. Understand our history. Hell, I got 30 years of history behind
Right.
me, and I'm
Right.
proud of it,
Right.
damn proud of it,
Right.
because I never
Right.
backed down. I've never sold out, and I will continue to move forward, and I refuse to quit. I don't give a damn if I'm in New York or Atlanta. I'm an activist to the heart.
Correct.
I'm a revolutionary to the heart.
And that's what I
and
mean.
I am,
That's
will
what I mean.
always be a revolutionary.
That's what I mean. You
what
don't
I mean?
know any other way
And
now.
that's
It's
it.
too
I don't
late.
know another
It's
way.
too late.
You know, because even I got a little job now.
Right.
I can't keep my mouth shut.
Right, right.
You know, they
right,
call me the complainer.
right,
Damn right I'm complaining.
You
'cause
don't,
you wrong.
you don't even have to say anything. People look in your eyes and they know whether or not you are aware and whether or not you are a representative of your people. The way you say good morning.
Yes.
Changes what they say to you and how they say it. All those little funny jokes that they like to say around people, as soon as you say good morning, they know I'm not going to say this crap around this man.
And that's what they understand.
And they understand
They
that.
understand this.
And you don't have to say a
not
word. You don't
because
have to say a word.
Your spirit alone.
Correct.
Let you know.
They know.
Let you
They
know.
They
Listen, that's
know.
not the nigga to play with.
Right. That's
what I mean?
exactly what they
That's not the nigga to play with.
Right.
Because
That's exactly
he's
what
gonna
they
deal
say.
with you in a way
Right.
that you ain't gonna like.
Right.
You know, and that's the way I carry myself. I'm like, look, I believe in teaching our people the truth.
Right.
On Facebook, I don't hold no bars.
Right.
There's no holds barred.
We
I don't
only
give a
got
damn
like a minute
who don't
or
like
so
it.
left. I'm gonna give you this last minute or so to actually tell what you're doing, what's going on in Atlanta. Talk about your organization.
Name of our organization is Africans Helping Africans. It's based here in New York
That
City.
camera right there is your camera. Look in there and talk to the people.
Name of the organization again is Africans Helping Africans. It's based here in New York City. We're a civil rights, human rights organization. We believe in helping the people. Our 4-point plan is secure the community, unite the community, educate the community, build the community. And if we do that in a way, our community will be much stronger and more united. I'm in Atlanta now, and what I'm doing in Atlanta is basically trying to help the homeless. I'm starting off from the bottom. I'm trying to start with the people and go directly to the people, to those who actually needs help. In Atlanta also, it's crazy. There's a high crime rate in Atlanta, extremely high, even higher than I think it is in New York. And I have to explain to people, look, we are violent in New York, but not this violent. It's just crazy.
Right.
And we really need to change things from here to Atlanta. If the people would need to reach me, they can always give me a call, 347-489-0917. That's 347-489-0917 if you wish to join Africans Helping Africans here in New York and really get busy.
We'll see you next week. We're out of time. It has been my honor to have the legendary Tim Ford at my
justice,
table.
no peace.
Peace. We'll see you next week. We out. Thank you, brother.
Oh man, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, we need to do that more often.
Yeah.